everybody. Welcome to the podcast, Family Secrets Unveiled. Today's episode, the stories we keep, famous and personal family secrets. Today, we're going to be talking about why families keep secrets, a famous story about the Kennedys, and what happens when secrets come out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Today's guest, Kent Biganati. How are you doing, Kent?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast, Colin.
Absolutely. So, moving into the first segment, what are family secrets? So, there's small secrets like hiding a snack or personal quirks, or we can have big secrets like hidden siblings or major family traumas. These secrets can really shape the identity of your family and, the structure of your relationships with individuals. So, first question, Kent, what counts as a family secret?
I feel family secrets can be as big as small as not telling the truth to your parents, and as big as not knowing who your parents are.
Yeah, I agree. Have you ever learned about a secret that's changed your view on somebody in your family?
I personally have not, but I can imagine the view of not knowing a secret can be difficult. To not know what that secret is and having the view after you've learned what that secret is of that particular family member.
Yeah, definitely. Secrets are a kind of a crazy thing, good and bad. Moving on to our next segment, famous family secrets, the Kennedys. So, as you know, the Kennedys are a pretty prominent family in American history, right? Yeah. So there's this one story about Rosemary Kennedy. She was a sister to JFK, John F. Kennedy, and she had developmental disabilities. And the first kind of secret was the whole family kind of kept that out of the public's view because of their political reputation. They just didn't want to deal with that. So kind of unfortunate. But in 1941, when she was about 20, she underwent a lobotomy forced by her father, and it went terribly wrong. Her father did not tell anybody in the family, and held on to that secret until the day he died. And the only way they found out was they went to go look for him. And they eventually, when JFK became the president, he advocated for disability rights. So that's just a quick little story about it. Just a question, why do you think they kept that secret?
The Kennedys are a pretty prominent family, and I personally think that's probably mainly political, in the landscape of when this all happened in the early 20s. Disabilities of family made their family look weak.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think, they just did this to make sure that they looked better, to get elected. But do you think the societal stigma justified their actions at all?
I don't think their societal stigma justified their actions. I think that the disability, as I said before, is just very uncommon. So I think society at that point in time made it difficult for them to tell the truth about their daughter that had a disability.
Right. Yeah. And do you think that this secret, was turning this secret into advocacy and act of redemption by JFK?
I think it was out of respect for Rosemary, the daughter that had the disability. I think the family members were hurt by the fact that they didn't know about the surgery that made her disability even worse than it was. and I think they did it out of respect for that because society didn't really know about disabilities at that point, and they were a very political, powerful family, and I think their input in trying to get more money thrown at research and thing was out of respect for their particular their daughter and their sister.
Yeah, because JFK, when he got elected, he was big into disability rights and all of that kind of legislative. About moving on to the next segment, why families keep secrets. Common reasons why is just protecting feelings, reputation, like we talked about, or just relationships in general. Also avoiding conflict or judgment. So it's just people keep secrets for almost their own gain at this point, for the most part. But question for you: Have you ever been a part of a secret that has brought you closer to somebody?
Not that big of a secret that has brought me closer, by looking at a lot of stories that I've seen, both sides of it, where somebody has brought me closer to it. I think it depends on the secret. Sometimes that secret can bring you closer to somebody, and sometimes that secret can bring you farther apart.
Yeah, and kind of to follow up on that, have you ever been left out?
Yes, in small ways of secrets. Secrets are, as we talked about them before, secrets can be big and small. So being left out of a family secret and not knowing what a family's doing, like the Kennedys, for example, not knowing that your sister was going to have surgery, can be hurtful.
Yeah.
And how you react to that, not being trusted to know that secret is a difficult thing, I think, for a person to understand.
Especially when they find out, especially with kind of health situations. A lot of times people don't like to talk about, what's happening because they feel like we said, it shows weakness. And especially when, let's say, and your parents or one of your relatives goes through a pretty traumatic health scare and they don't tell you about it until 2 months after, and you feel this sense of like,
why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me? And so it's like, it goes back to the whole idea of, do they trust me? And sometimes there's really nothing you can do about it, But I think that it's some people are just kind of weird, and they just think that society is the most.
I think it
important
becomes
thing.
weird, and I think it becomes a thing of weakness. They don't want to tell you that secret because of their health, because they feel like it's a weakness. They don't want to burden you with their problems or with their situation, so they keep that secret from you. And then on the flip side of the person who got the secret kept from them, why didn't you trust me? I could have helped you. Then it becomes, okay, well, what other things haven't you told me?
Right.
And so it can be seen both ways. And then that's why secrets and telling the truth, I believe, can be hard at first, but typically are the right way to go.
Yeah. So, do you think personally secrets are more about protecting others or oneself?
I think they start off protecting themselves. Most times, a secret that you're telling, sometimes whether it's a family secret or a secret anywhere else, you're typically trying to protect yourself and what you've either gotten yourself into, what you're trying to get out of. And so, but on the flip side of it, I think there are parents, in this case of John F. Kennedy, in theory, were trying to protect the secret to protect his family.
Right.
It was an individual thing. He wasn't individually trying to protect himself, but he was trying to protect his family, his legacy. And so I think it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah. I think people kind of lie to themselves by saying that they're protecting others by holding on to this secret or not sharing. But at the end of the day, they're really just protecting themselves and it's unfortunate because that's kind of the lie that you tell yourself is, I'm protecting everybody else, so
It's okay to keep the secret,
right?
Because I feel like I'm protecting somebody else.
So why do some secrets last generations, kind of like this JFK one, and why do others are revealed quickly?
Well, I mean, I think secrets get revealed. They're harder to get revealed because of the time. It's the secret of the, the Kennedys, for example, in our story. It happened over 10, 15, 20 years. So I'm sure it was difficult, and obviously it never got revealed by the dad because it didn't get pulled out till he died. But trying to tell a secret that lasted 25 years, the consequences obviously are greater than somebody coming home and saying that I didn't tell you I got a bad grade on my test. It's a small secret I kept, but the consequences can be smaller.
Right.
So I think that's why some get revealed quicker than others take a little bit longer.
Absolutely. Moving on to segment 4. What happens when the secrets come out? There's two kind of things that really happen, right? It's either a positive experience or a negative experience. And usually in the positive experience, it's relieving. It feels like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. It's healing. You kind of build a stronger relationship with that person. You disclose information. Or on the flip side, it can be really negative, right? It can be shocking. You can have anger. You can burst out in tears. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And especially, like we talked about, the damage of trust. Just like it went out the window. It just feels like they've just been lying to you this entire time. Like you don't even know this person anymore, right? So, how have you seen a secret bring people closer or tear them apart?
I've seen secrets do both, right? I mean, I've seen secrets bring people closer, and I've seen them tear them apart. For example, I've seen in stories where you see somebody who finally tells that secret to their brother or their sister that they've been holding on forever, and it finally broke that barrier, and those people became closer.
Right.
But I've also seen stories of secrets where they've held on to it for a really long time, and then that secret was just so big that it just ended a relationship because nobody could really get over the fact of why you did what you did.
Right.
Because those consequences might have been, how
it just blew up in their face. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to figure out the right way. Is there really any right way or right time to reveal a secret?
I think that I don't think there's a right way to reveal a secret. Because I think that the secret, in theory, the right way would have been to not
have the secret.
Not have the secret in the first place. But obviously, when you get to the point where you're trying to reveal a secret, is there a right or wrong? I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on, are you talking to someone who is under the age of 18? Are you talking to somebody who is 50 years old? How long the secret's been? There's just a lot of different ways of the right way to get it. But as I said before, I think the right way is obviously to dig deep and not tell the secret in the first place, or tell the truth in the first place in that example.
Yeah, it's hard. Like you said, it's really personalized per person, per group of people, because every secret's different, and so the way you go about it might be personalized to the people or person you're talking to. And also, it's just like you said, this might cause even more distress. But, is it worth you holding on to for the rest of your life? And so there's this kind of like give and take of like, it's a lose-lose situation, but I can't hold on to it anymore, right? And so it's really difficult, I think. So personally, how would you approach revealing a secret? Would you do it with compassion or, direct honesty? How would you go about that?
It kind of goes back to, I personally think it's a combination of the two. I think you have to have compassion when you tell anybody anything. But I also think that you have to be direct, because sometimes if you're not direct, the person doesn't understand what you're telling them.
Right.
And sometimes I think it's the compassion becomes, is it, how long the secret is, how big, what are the consequences when I tell you the secret? Is it because it's a 30-year-old secret and I've got to have some compassion, and so it's difficult to be, very direct? And so, or is it, hey, you didn't tell me the truth about a grade on your test, and we can really get right to the point where you don't have to be compassionate. It's very direct because, of that, of how that works. In the case of the Kennedys, it's interesting about, revealing secrets, and being compassionate and being direct. You just wonder what other secrets were going on in that family, right?
Absolutely.
And the secret that the dad had with not telling about the particular surgery, what other kind of secrets, and how, the compassion and the directness of not knowing what that secret was, how it really affected that particular family, which is really interesting, of how, because they had 7 or 8 kids in that family, or something like that.
At least it's a big family for sure.
Right.
And it's just like you think, like said, think about all the things that weren't revealed, right? And just the Kennedys are just a prime example, because their life has just always been in the public view, right? But just think about the average family. There's got to be something that somebody did, right? Or just think about other people that are famous. Like, there's something that they're holding on to, and it's hard, because people just are scared about what other people think, and it's a valid feeling.
It's a valid feeling, and society drives that. And you look back at the story, society drove the secret with the Kennedys. In that time frame. Now obviously that secret right now, if you flash forward it to where we are in the 20th century, it's not
that big.
It's common now. That secret back then was so uncommon, that they had to really decide what they wanted to do, and obviously they decided one way, and you can see the consequences did not come out well in their favor.
Well, and you think about who is the guy, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He kind of had the same situation where he had something where he was in a wheelchair. He was the president of the United States, and I learned that there were a lot of pictures of his waist up, where you just couldn't see him in a wheelchair. There's not very many pictures of him in a wheelchair, because it just, society drove that narrative of being disabled, made you less valuable as a person. So it's kind of unfortunate. But I think society has now helped people with disabilities to thrive in society and things like that. So, kind of closing up, we talked about family secrets and how complex they are. And, we're just humans, and, we cannot do anything right. Whether they're kept or revealed, they shape the relationships and identities of all families and people. Thank you so much, Kent. I really appreciated you having this conversation. Is there any final thoughts that you have?
Thanks for having me on your podcast. I've really enjoyed the few minutes that we've had together. Family secrets can be big, they can be small, and they can have many consequences that come from those. I think that the biggest thing that for me on family secrets is to try to always tell the truth and not have as many of those family secrets.
You heard it here, folks. Just tell the truth. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned next time. See ya.